The message arrived on a Tuesday. A giant ship had appeared near the moon, and the world held its breath. After 3 days of silence, the aliens finally spoke. They called themselves the Valyrians and wanted to meet with Earth's representatives. Alex. Morgan stared out the window of the small spacecraft, taking him to the alien vessel. At 32, he had never expected to be humanity's first official ambassador to an alien species. His background as a Navy pilot with diplomatic training made him a logical choice, but the weight of responsibility still pressed heavily on his shoulders. 5 minutes until docking, said the pilot. Alex nodded and straightened his uniform. One last time, Dr. Olivia Wright sat beside him, reviewing her notes. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and her fingers moved quickly across her tablet. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, she had spent her career imagining what alien life might look like. Now she would see it firsthand. Nervous? Alex asked. Olivia looked up and smiled. Excited. We're about to meet beings from another world. Everything we know about biology, evolution, and physics might change today. The small craft shuddered as it connected with the massive Valyrian ship. Alex took a deep breath. The rest of the human delegation, 2 scientists, a linguist, and a military officer, gathered their things. Remember, Alex said quietly, we represent all of humanity. Today, the airlock door slid open with a soft hiss. The humans stepped through into a brightly lit chamber. 3 tall, slender figures waited for them. The Valyrians stood nearly 7 feet tall. Their skin shimmered with an iridescent quality that shifted between blue and green, depending on how the light hit it. Most striking were their 4 arms, each ending in 7-fingered hands. Their faces featured large, oval eyes that blinked vertically instead of horizontally. We welcome Earth's representatives, said the tallest Valyrian. Its voice had an unusual musical quality, like several tones being played at once. I am Zertek, ambassador of the Valyrian Coalition. Alex stepped forward. Thank you for your welcome. I am Alex Morgan, representing the United Earth Government. We are honored to meet you. The formal introductions continued, with each human stepping forward to state their name and role. The Valyrians watched with unblinking eyes, their 4 arms making small, quick gestures to each other that Alex guessed was some form of private communication. As they moved to a large conference room, Alex noticed something odd. The Valyrians moved with incredible grace and speed. Their movements were fluid, but almost too quick to follow completely. When Zertek gestured for them to sit, his arms seemed to blur slightly. The meeting began with an exchange of basic information. The Valyrians explained they were part of a galactic council with 27 member species. Earth was being considered for provisional membership. Your species has advanced quickly, said Zertek, faster than most in technological development. We find this ... interesting. As Zertek spoke, he casually picked up a thin stylus-like object from the table. Without warning, he dropped it. Before it fell more than an inch, his lower right hand had already caught it. The movement was so fast that Alex barely saw it happen. Remarkable reflexes, commented Olivia. Zertek's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. Standard for our kind. Our neural pathways process movement much more efficiently than most species we encounter. One of the other Valyrians, introduced as Science Director Vielaner, tilted his head. We have studied your biology through your broadcasts and data networks. Humans are ... surprisingly slow. Your reaction time is quite primitive by galactic standards. Alex felt a slight sting at the words, but maintained his diplomatic smile. Different evolutionary paths lead to different strengths. Of course, said Zertek, but there was something in his tone that sounded like amusement. All species contribute something to the galactic community. Throughout the next few hours, the humans couldn't help but notice more demonstrations of Valyrian speed. When a holographic display flickered, Velinar adjusted it so quickly his fingers seemed to disappear in motion. When Dr. Wright dropped her pen, 2 Valyrians had reached for it before she even registered it had fallen. Each time, the aliens exchanged those quick hand gestures, followed by what Alex was increasingly sure were looks of amusement. During a break in the talks, Alex found Olivia taking notes in a corner of the room. "They're showing off," he said quietly. Olivia nodded. "Yes, but it's also fascinating. Their muscle response time must be at least 3 times faster than ours. But I'm noticing something about their neural systems from the medical data they shared." "What's that?" "It's just a theory, but I think they process information differently than we do. They're fast, but possibly ... linear in their thinking." Before she could explain further, a new group of aliens entered the room. Unlike the slender Valyrians, these newcomers were broad and heavily muscled, with thick gray skin that looked almost like armor. They had only 2 arms, but their hands featured sharp-looking claws. "The Dravik delegation," announced Zertek. "Our closest allies in the Galactic Council." The lead Dravik, nearly 8 feet tall, looked down at the humans with obvious disdain. "These are the Earth creatures? They look weak." "This is Commander Grathel," said Zertek. "The Dravik are one of the oldest members of the Council and serve as its primary defense force." Grathel circled the human delegation, his movements surprisingly quick for his size. "I question the wisdom of inviting such a physically limited species to join us. In crisis situations, slow reactions lead to death." Alex stepped forward. "With respect, Commander, physical speed is just one measure of a species' value." Grathel made a sound like rocks grinding together, which Alex realized was laughter. "Spoken like a slow species." He moved suddenly, his massive arm swinging toward Alex's face. Alex flinched, but the arm stopped just inches from his nose. The movement had been so fast, he had no time to dodge. "You see?" Grath said. "No defensive reaction at all. In space, such slowness gets everyone killed." Olivia Wright had been recording the entire interaction on her tablet. Unlike the others, she didn't seem offended, but deeply curious. "The council meeting is in 6 months, said Grathel. "I formally challenge Earth's qualification for membership on grounds of physical inadequacy. Let us see if these humans deserve a place among the stars." After the aliens left to let the humans discuss this development, Olivia pulled Alex aside. "This could actually work in our favor," she said, excitement in her voice. "How? You saw how fast they are." "We can't compete with that." Olivia smiled. "True, we can't match their muscle speed, but I've been analyzing their responses. They're incredibly quick at simple actions, but I noticed hesitation when faced with unexpected situations. I think human neural architecture might have advantages they don't understand yet." Alex looked doubtful. "You think we can beat them?" "Not at their game," said Olivia, "but maybe at ours. We need to get a message to Earth. We need Samantha Hill and the best neuroscientists we have. If my theory is right, humans might be slower, but our brains might be better at something much more important than simple speed." As their ship departed back to Earth, Alex looked out at the stars. The aliens had mocked humanity's slowness, but Olivia's confidence gave him hope. Perhaps there was more to human reaction time than the Valyrians understood. The real competition was just beginning. 6 months passed quickly. Earth governments worked together like never before, preparing for the challenge that would determine humanity's place among the stars. The Valyrian ship returned, this time bringing representatives from the Galactic Council to witness the competition. Captain Samantha Hill stood at the window of the space station, watching Earth rotate slowly below. At 34, she had spent her life pushing the limits of human ability. Before joining the Space Force, she had won 3 Olympic medals in sprinting and hurdles. Now she faced a race where second place meant humanity would lose its chance to join the galactic community. "Beautiful view," said a voice behind her. Samantha turned to see Paul Martinez, the engineer who had been recruited to help analyze alien physiology. His glasses reflected the blue glow of Earth below. "I keep looking at it to remind myself what we're fighting for," Samantha said. "Any new insights on our alien friends?" Paul held up his tablet. Dr. Wright's initial theories were right. "I've been studying the medical data they shared. The Valyrians and Draviks have neural systems that process information very quickly, but in a strictly linear fashion. Meaning, they do one thing at a time, extremely fast. Humans process multiple information streams simultaneously. We're like parallel computers to their superfast single-core processors." Their conversation was interrupted as the door slid open. Ambassador Karen Foster entered, followed by Lisa Chun, the newest addition to their team. At only 24, Lisa was a gaming champion known for her extraordinary reflexes and decision-making speed under pressure. "They've announced the 3 challenge events," Karen said. "The Draviks insisted on strength testing first, then speed, and finally what they're calling decision response integration." Lisa smiled. "That last one sounds promising." "The demonstration events begin in 1 hour," Karen continued. "The aliens want to show off their abilities before the formal competition tomorrow." The demonstration area was a large circular chamber with seating for hundreds of spectators. Most of the seats were filled with aliens of various shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that Samantha couldn't even guess how their bodies functioned. Commander Grathiel of the Dravik stood in the center of the arena. Without warning, he grabbed a metal bar that must have weighed hundreds of pounds and bent it easily into a circle. The alien crowd clicked and hummed with appreciation. "Strength demonstration," Paul whispered. "They'll destroy us in this category." Double quotes next. 3 Valyrians moved to the center. A series of targets appeared around the room, and the aliens hit each. One with perfect accuracy, at speeds that made their arms blur. 1 Valyrian ran a complete circle around the arena in under 10 seconds. "They're faster than Olympic sprinters," Samantha said quietly. Zertek approached the human delegation. "Perhaps you would like to demonstrate your capabilities as well, to give the council a baseline for comparison." Samantha stepped forward. "We'll save our demonstrations for the actual competition." Zertek made that strange hand gesture that might have been amusement. "As you wish." Though many council members are curious about human abilities, some have never seen such a physically limited species before. After the aliens finished their impressive displays, the human team gathered in their private quarters. "We need to understand the 3rd challenge better," Samantha said. "Paul, what exactly is decision response integration?" Paul projected a hologram showing the course description they had been given. "It's basically a complex reaction time test. Competitors move through a course where they have to respond to unpredictable stimuli and solve problems under time pressure." Lisa studied the course layout. "This is basically a high-stakes version of the simulations I train with. The key isn't just reacting fast, but predicting what's coming and making the right decision. That's where humans might have an advantage." Olivia Wright said, joining the conversation. "I've been watching the Valyrians and Draviks. They're incredibly fast at executing actions, but they show slight hesitation when faced with unexpected changes or multiple simultaneous challenges. So we might lose the first 2 events badly," Samantha summarized, "but have a chance in them out the 3rd. More than a chance," Paul said. "The human brain has evolved to handle ambiguity and make predictive models of the world. We constantly run simulations of what might happen next and prepare responses before events occur. While the aliens just react very quickly to what's already happening," Lisa added. Karen Foster looked concerned. Will one event be enough? The Council might still see us as too physically inferior. Then we need to make sure our victory. And that event is spectacular, Samantha said. Lisa, you'll take the lead on the third challenge. The rest of us will do our best in the other events, but we'll focus our training on maximizing our advantage where it counts. That night, while the others slept, Samantha found Lisa in the training room, running simulations on a holographic display. Couldn't sleep? Samantha asked. Lisa shook her head. I keep thinking about what we're up against. The aliens move so fast. Speed isn't everything, Samantha said, sitting beside her. When I ran hurdles in the Olympics, I wasn't always the fastest runner, but I could read the rhythm of the race better than most. I could feel when to push and when to hold back. That's what I'm counting on, Lisa said. In gaming championships, the players with the fastest reflexes don't always win. It's the ones who can read patterns and predict what's coming next. Exactly, said Samantha. The aliens think this is just about reaction time, but it's really about processing information and making the right decisions quickly. The next morning, the human team prepared for the first event. As expected, the strength testing went poorly for the humans. Even Samantha, the strongest of their group, could lift only a fraction of what the weakest Dravek managed. The alien spectators made sounds that might have been laughter. Commander Grathol looked directly at Samantha as he effortlessly lifted a weight the three humans together couldn't budge. Perhaps your species should have stayed on your home planet, he said loudly enough for the crowd to hear. The speed tests that followed were equally discouraging. The Valyrians moved with such quickness that they seemed to teleport rather than run. The best human time was still 3 times slower than the average alien competitor. By the end of the second event, the human team was at the bottom of the rankings. The alien council members were discussing among themselves, many making dismissive gestures toward the humans. Don't let it get to you, Olivia told the team as they gathered before the final event. This is exactly what we expected. The third challenge is where we show them what humans can really do. Paul checked the readings on his equipment one last time. The course complexity has been increased for the final event. That's good for us. The more variables and unpredictable elements, the more our parallel processing gives us an advantage. Samantha put her hand on Lisa's shoulder. Ready? Lisa nodded, her eyes focused and determined. I've been ready my whole life. Let's show the galaxy what humans can do. As they walked toward the arena for the final challenge, Zyrtec approached them. Your performance has been disappointing so far, but the Council values persistence. This final test will determine if humans have any worthwhile qualities to contribute to galactic society. Samantha smiled confidently. We're just getting warmed up, Ambassador. The real competition is about to begin. The final challenge arena looked like something from a dream. Glowing platforms floated at different heights. Barriers appeared and disappeared randomly. Holographic obstacles moved in unpredictable patterns. It was a 3-dimensional maze designed to test not just speed, but the ability to process complex information and make split-second decisions. Lisa Chun took a deep breath as she stepped onto the starting platform. The Valyrian competitor, a slim female named Turval, gave her a look that might have been pity. The massive Dravek Grathol simply ignored her as he flexed his powerful arms. Competitors ready, announced a mechanical voice. The challenge begins in 3.2.1. A tone sounded, and all 3 launched forward. The Valyrian moved with incredible speed, leaping from platform to platform, her 4 arms giving her perfect balance. The Dravek was less elegant, but used his raw power to smash through obstacles rather than navigate around them. Lisa moved more slowly, but with precise, calculated movements. where the aliens reacted to each obstacle as they encountered it. She was studying the patterns, looking 3 steps ahead. From the observation deck, Paul and Olivia watched intently. "Look at the eye tracking," Olivia said, pointing to her tablet, displaying Lisa's biometric data. "She's not looking at the obstacle in front of her. She's looking at what comes after it." Paul nodded. "The aliens focus only on the immediate challenge. Lisa is mapping the entire course in her mind, predicting how it will change." The first phase of the challenge was straightforward. The Valyrian took an early lead, with the Dravik close behind. Lisa trailed by several seconds, causing murmurs among the alien spectators. "The human is even slower than expected," one council member said. Ambassador Curran Foster remained calm. "Just watch," she replied. The second phase began, and the complexity increased dramatically. Multiple systems began changing at once. Platforms moved in 3 dimensions. Barriers appeared with less warning. Competitors had to solve small puzzles to progress. The Valyrian's pace slowed noticeably. She hesitated at junction points, sometimes having to correct her course after making a wrong decision. The Dravik became visibly frustrated, roaring as he made errors and had to backtrack. Lisa, however, seemed to find her rhythm. Her movements became more fluid. While still not as fast as the aliens, she made almost no mistakes. She solved puzzles in seconds that caused the others to pause. When platforms shifted position, she was already moving toward where they would be, not where they had been. "What's happening?" asked an alien council member, leaning forward with interest. Samantha Hill smiled. "Your competitors react to what they see. Humans predict what will happen next." By the middle of the course, something remarkable occurred. Lisa had closed much of the gap with the aliens. The Valyrian still led, but now by only a small margin. The Dravik had fallen into 3rd place, his brute force approach proving less effective as the course grew more complex. In the control room, Paul analyzed the live data coming from all 3 competitors. "Look at the decision points," he said to Olivia. The Valyrian takes 0.2 seconds to react to a new obstacle, compared to Lisa's 0.5 seconds. But Lisa makes the correct decision 95% of the time on first attempt, compared to only 72% for the Valyrian. "And the Dravik?" asked Olivia. "Fast reaction, poor decisions. Only 50% accuracy. He's wasting time correcting mistakes." The final section of the course was the most challenging. It featured a virtual structure that began to collapse, with only one safe path through the falling debris. Competitors had to predict the pattern of collapse and find the safe route in real time. The Valyrian reached this section first, but immediately hesitated. She started down one path, then quickly backtracked as it became blocked. She tried another route, then another, each time having to retreat as debris blocked her way. The Dravik arrived and simply tried to power through, but was sent back to the starting point of the section when a virtual beam hit him. Lisa arrived last, but paused only briefly at the entrance. Her eyes moved rapidly, taking in the entire collapsing structure. Then she moved forward with confidence, weaving through falling beams and shifting platforms as if she had memorized the path. "How is she doing that?" asked Zertek, watching. "In confusion. Pattern recognition," Paul explained. "Human brains constantly create models of how physical systems work. Lisa isn't just seeing what's falling now. She's calculating the physics of how the entire structure will collapse." The alien spectators fell silent as Lisa navigated the collapse perfectly, overtaking both aliens who were still struggling to find a path. She reached the finish platform a full 10 seconds before the Valyrian finally made it through. The Dravik arrived last, his face twisted in what must have been anger or disbelief. The scoreboard flashed the final results. Despite losing badly in the first 2 events, the human team's performance in the final challenge was so exceptional that they had earned enough points to take second place overall, ahead of the Dravik team. Impossible, growled Grathel, storming over to the human delegation. The course must have been designed to favor human abilities. The course was designed by the Council to test true reaction capability, Karen Foster replied calmly. That's exactly what it did. The Council members were gathered in an animated discussion. One of them, a small alien with 6 eyes, approached the humans. We find your species fascinating, it said. You move slowly, yet you navigated the complex course more efficiently than species with twice your reaction speed. Olivia stepped forward. May I explain what happened? We've been studying the differences between human neural architecture and that of other species. The council member gestured for her to continue. Valyrians and Draviks have neural systems that process information. Sequentially, she said, displaying diagrams on her tablet. One input, one output, very fast. Humans process information in parallel streams. We're handling multiple calculations simultaneously. Like the difference between raw processor speed and sophisticated algorithms, added Paul. When the environment is simple and predictable, sequential processing is faster. But when things get complex and unpredictable, the parallel processing becomes more efficient, finished the council member. Fascinating indeed. Back in their quarters, the human team celebrated their unexpected success. We're not out of the woods yet, Karen cautioned. The council still has to vote on our membership. But we've proven our worth, said Samantha. They can't deny that humans bring something valuable to the table. Lisa sat quietly, still processing the experience. The look on the Valyrian's face when I passed her ... She couldn't understand how I knew which path would stay open. That's our advantage, Paul said. We don't just react to the world. We predict it. We're constantly running simulations in our minds, preparing for what might happen next. So what happens now? Asked Lisa. Samantha looked out at the stars. Now we wait for the final competition, and we keep training. Because if there's one thing we proved today, it's that humans still have a few surprises for the galaxy. Outside their quarters, Zertek and a group of Valyrian scientists were reviewing recordings of Lisa's performance, their 4 arms making rapid gestures as they discussed what they had witnessed. Perhaps, Zertek said quietly, we have underestimated these humans after all. The news of the human team's surprising performance spread quickly through the space station. Aliens of various species now watched the humans with curious eyes as they passed in the corridors. Some even approached to ask questions or request. Demonstrations of human cognitive abilities. 3 days after the challenge, the Galactic Council called for a special meeting. The human delegation was summoned to the Grand Chamber, a massive room with seats arranged in rising circles. Representatives from all 27 member species were present, their diverse forms creating a living tapestry of galactic life. Samantha Hill led the human team into the chamber, her back straight and head held high. Lisa Chun walked beside her, still tired from the intense challenge, but proud of what she had accomplished. Paul, Olivia, and Ambassador Karen completed the group. The head counselor, a tall being with crystalline skin that refracted light in beautiful patterns, spoke. First, we have reviewed the results of the challenge events, the counselor said, voice resonating through the chamber. While humans performed poorly in tests of physical strength and speed, your performance in the complex reaction challenge has raised interesting questions. Commander Grathel stood from his seat. One lucky performance does not prove worthiness. The humans remain physically inferior. In real combat or crisis situations, their slowness would endanger us all. Murmurs ran through the gathered aliens. Samantha could tell many agreed with the Dravik's assessment. Zertek rose next. The Valyrian delegation has been studying the human neural architecture since the challenge. Our findings suggest that human cognitive processing may have certain advantages we had not previously considered. What advantages could possibly outweigh their physical limitations? Demanded Grathel. Paul Martinez stepped forward. With the Council's permission, we would like to propose a final demonstration. A real-world scenario that tests both physical speed and decision-making under pressure. The head counselor's crystalline form shimmered. What do you propose? A. Rescue simulation, said Paul. Mixed teams of aliens and humans facing unpredictable hazards, where both quick movement and complex decision-making are required. The council members discussed among themselves. Finally, the head counselor nodded. We accept this proposal. The final demonstration will take place tomorrow. 3 teams will compete: a pure Valyrian team, a pure Dravik team, and a mixed human-alien team. As the human delegation left the chamber, Grathal blocked their path. This final test changes. Nothing, he growled. You humans are too slow to be useful in a real crisis. The council will see that tomorrow. Samantha met his gaze without flinching. Speed isn't everything, Commander. Sometimes it's about seeing the whole picture. Back in their quarters, the team gathered to plan for the final demonstration. Who will be on our mixed team? Asked Lisa. You and me, Samantha said. Then 2 aliens who volunteered. Turval, the Valyrian you competed against, and a Maloran engineer named Zix. Paul brought up a holographic display of the simulation arena. The rescue scenario involves a damaged space station with multiple hazards: fire, radiation, structural collapse, and trapped victims. Teams must rescue as many victims as possible while avoiding dangers. The key will be combining the aliens' physical speed with our decision-making, Olivia said. We need to show that together we're more effective than either species alone. Later that evening, Samantha met with Turval and Zix to discuss strategy. The Valyrian still seemed skeptical of working with humans. Your physical slowness will hinder us, Turval said, her 4 arms moving in that gesture Samantha now recognized as concern. But our ability to process complex information quickly will help us avoid mistakes, Samantha countered. In the maze challenge, you moved faster, but had to backtrack more often. Together, we can move efficiently. Zix, a small alien with blue skin and large eyes, nodded enthusiastically. I've studied human cognition since your arrival. Your parallel processing is remarkable. My species values efficiency above all else, and I believe a combined approach will prove most effective. They spent hours developing a strategy that played to everyone's strengths. The aliens would handle the physical tasks requiring speed, while the humans would focus on information processing, hazard prediction, and overall coordination. When morning came, the arena was ready. It had been transformed into a replica of a damaged space station, complete with simulated fires, radiation zones, and structural damage. Holographic victims were scattered throughout, programmed to respond realistically to rescue attempts. The Dravik team entered first, 4 massive warriors armed with rescue equipment. They looked confident, even arrogant. The Valyrian team followed, 6 slender figures moving with their characteristic grace and speed. Finally, the mixed team took their positions. Samantha and Lisa alongside Turval and Zix. They had spent the night studying the physics of structural collapses and the spread patterns of fires in zero-gravity environments. Begin simulation, announced the head counselor. Alarms blared. Emergency lights flashed. The teams rushed into action. The Dravik team moved with impressive speed and power, smashing through barriers and carrying victims with ease. But they often missed hidden dangers, having to retreat when simulated fires flared unexpectedly or debris shifted. The Valyrian team moved even faster, their 4 arms allowing them to navigate difficult terrain while carrying victims. Yet they too struggled with the unpredictable nature of the cascading emergencies. The mixed team took a different approach. Lisa stood at the entrance, quickly scanning the entire station. Her eyes moved rapidly, taking in every detail, every potential danger. Structural collapse imminent in Section 3, she called out. Radiation leak spreading to Corridor B fire will reach the fuel cells in approximately 40 seconds. Turval and Zix moved according to her guidance, their physical speed combined with her predictive mapping creating an efficient rescue operation. Samantha coordinated from another position, calculating the optimal rescue sequence based on victim locations and spreading dangers. When the Dravik team rushed into Section 3, they were forced back by a structural collapse that Lisa had predicted. When the Valurian team had to choose between two corridors, they hesitated, costing precious seconds. The Council watched in silence as the mixed team rescued victim after victim with remarkable efficiency. The aliens provided the physical speed, while the humans provided the predictive intelligence to avoid dangers before they became threats. Look at their eye movements, Paul pointed out to the observing council members. The humans aren't just reacting to what's happening now. They're processing what will happen next. They're seeing patterns that allow them to guide the team away from dangers before they're even visible. Halfway through the simulation, a new challenge was introduced. The station's artificial gravity began to fail in random sections, creating a chaotic environment where physics itself became unpredictable. The Dravik team faltered, their strength less useful in zero gravity. The Valurian team adapted better, but still struggled with the rapidly changing conditions. The mixed team, however, seemed to thrive. Lisa quickly recognized the pattern in the gravity failures and directed the team accordingly. Turval used her forearms to navigate the zero-gravity sections with Samantha's guidance, while Zix's engineering knowledge helped identify stable pathways. As the simulation ended, the scoreboard displayed the results. The mixed team had rescued 82% of the victims. The Valurian team managed 65%, while the Dravik team reached only 51%. Commander Grathel stared at the scoreboard in disbelief. "This cannot be correct," he growled. "The results are accurate," said the head counselor. "The demonstration has shown that while humans may lack physical speed, their cognitive advantages can enhance the performance of any team they join." Zer Tech approached the human delegation. "It seems we have much to learn from each other," he said. "Your species thinks differently than ours. Together, we might achieve things neither of us could alone." As the council members filed out to deliberate, Turval turned to Lisa. "I did not understand before," the Valurian said. "You see the world differently than we do. It is valuable." Samantha smiled. "Different evolutionary paths lead to different strengths," she said, repeating what Alex Morgan had told the aliens during first contact. "Together, we're stronger than either of us alone." The final vote on Earth's membership in the Galactic Council would come tomorrow. For now, at least, the humans had proven that sometimes being the fastest wasn't the same as being the best. The day of the final council vote arrived. The human delegation prepared in their quarters, adjusting their formal uniforms and reviewing one last time the presentation they would make to the assembled representatives of 27 alien civilizations. "No matter what happens today," Ambassador Karen Foster told the team, "you've already changed how the galaxy sees humanity. 6 months ago, they thought we were too slow to be useful. Now they're reconsidering everything they thought they knew about." Samantha nodded. "But we still need that council seat. Without it, Earth remains isolated, unable to access the galactic trade routes and technology exchanges." Paul Martinez entered the room, his tablet displaying the latest data from their demonstrations. "The scientific community is already buzzing. 3 different species have requested permission to study human neural architecture. They're particularly interested in our parallel processing capabilities. And I've been invited to participate in a research program on predictive cognition. Lisa added, the Valurians want to understand how we map future probabilities so effectively. Olivia Wright smiled. It's exactly what I suspected during first contact. They evolved for speed of movement. We evolved for speed of adaptation. A soft tone indicated. It was time to proceed to the council chamber. As they walked through the corridors of the space station, aliens of various species nodded respectfully. Even some of the Draviks acknowledged them with brief nods, though Commander Graphiel was nowhere to be seen. The Grand Council chamber was filled to capacity. Along with the official representatives, many scientists, military officers, and diplomats had gathered to witness the historic vote. The human delegation took their places in the center of the chamber, facing the semicircle of council members. The head counselor rose, crystalline skin catching the light. Before we proceed to the formal vote on Earth's membership, the council has asked Dr. Olivia Wright to present her findings on human cognitive abilities. Olivia stepped forward, her tablet connecting to the chamber's holographic system. Above the center of the room appeared a three-dimensional model of a human brain alongside models of Valurian, Dravik, and other alien neural systems. The key difference isn't in our neurons themselves, Olivia explained, highlighting different regions of the brain models. It's in how our brains process information. Most council species evolved neural systems that handle data sequentially one piece at a time, very quickly. Humans process multiple streams simultaneously, and most importantly, create predictive models of future states. The models shifted to show neural activity patterns. The alien brains showed quick, direct pathways. The human brain displayed complex, interconnected networks with activity happening in multiple regions at once. In simple environments with clear threats like our evolutionary past of avoiding predators, the alien approach is superior. You can react faster than we can. But in complex environments with multiple variables and unpredictable changes, like space exploration or emergency response, our approach offers advantages. Paul joined her, adding, the difference becomes even more pronounced when we look at decision-making under uncertainty. Humans don't just react to what is happening. We constantly simulate what might happen next. We run thousands of possible futures through our minds every second, preparing responses before events occur. The council members leaned forward, many, making notes or discussing quietly among themselves. Even the Dravik representatives seemed interested, though still skeptical. This is why Lisa could navigate the collapsing structure in the reaction challenge, Olivia continued. She wasn't just seeing the falling debris. She was calculating the physics of the entire collapse before it happened. Similarly, in the rescue simulation, the human-alien team performed better because our cognitive approach complemented your physical speed. Zertek stood from his council seat. The Valurian delegation has conducted its own studies since the demonstrations. We can confirm that human neural architecture does indeed process information differently than our own. While we still hold the advantage in raw speed of movement, humans have shown remarkable abilities in complex decision environments. The head counselor nodded. Thank you for this presentation. Before we vote, are there any final statements from the delegations? To everyone's surprise, Commander Grathel stood. His massive form towered over the other representatives. The Dravik have valued physical strength and speed above all else for thousands of years, he said, his voice rumbling through the chamber. We believed these qualities were the only measure of a species' worth. He paused, seeming to struggle with his next words. The recent demonstrations have challenged this belief. A murmur ran through the chamber. No one had expected the proud Dravik to admit even the possibility of being wrong. While I still maintain that humans are physically inferior, Grathal continued, I acknowledge that. Their cognitive approach has ... merit. In the rescue simulation, they identified dangers before my warriors could see them. This ability would be valuable in real combat situations. He turned to face the human delegation directly. The Dravik withdraw our objection to Earth's membership in the Council. The chamber erupted in sounds of surprise and approval. Ambassador Karen stepped forward. On behalf of Earth, I thank the Dravik delegation for their reconsideration. We don't seek to replace your strengths with ours, but to combine them. Humanity doesn't need to be the fastest to be valuable. We just need to be ourselves. The vote that followed was nearly unanimous. Earth was granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all the benefits and responsibilities that entailed. As the decision was announced, the chamber filled with the various sounds of alien approval clicks, hums, flashes of light, and even some recognizable applause. Later, at the formal reception celebrating Earth's membership, Samantha found herself standing next to Turval. The Valyrian held a drink in one of her 4 hands, the others moving in subtle gestures that Samantha now recognized as expressions of thoughtfulness. Your Dr. Wright has proposed an interesting research program, Turval said, combining Valyrian speed with human predictive cognition. She believes we might be able to learn from each other, perhaps even develop new neural training techniques. Samantha nodded. That's the real victory here, not just proving our worth, but finding ways to share our strengths. Across the room, Lisa was demonstrating a simple Earth game to a group of fascinated aliens. She had set up a reaction test where players had to predict which of several lights would illuminate next. The aliens with their quick reflexes could hit the lights quickly once they appeared, but Lisa consistently pressed the correct button before the light even came on. She is remarkable, Turval commented. Her predictive abilities exceed even your species' norm. That's another human strength, Samantha said. We vary greatly as individuals. Some of us specialize in different cognitive areas. The reception continued late into the night, with humans and aliens sharing stories, scientific insights, and even attempts at each other's cultural traditions. Paul managed to teach a group of small, 6-legged aliens how to dance the Macarena, while Ambassador Karen discussed philosophy with the crystalline head counselor Dot. As the celebration wound down, Alex Morgan, the pilot who had represented humanity, during first contact found Samantha by the viewing window overlooking Earth. When I first met the Valyrians, they caught a dropped stylus before it fell an inch, he said. I thought we could never compete with that kind of speed. Samantha smiled. We don't need to compete. We just needed to show that different kinds of speed have different kinds of value. Alex looked out at the stars. So what happens now? Now the real work begins. Cultural exchanges, scientific cooperation, learning each other's languages, and technologies. Earth isn't alone in the universe anymore. We're part of something bigger. Below them, the blue sphere of Earth rotated slowly, now officially part of the galactic community. Humans might not be the fastest species in physical movement, but their unique way of processing information, predicting, adapting, seeing patterns across complex systems had earned them their place among the stars. And somewhere out there, on thousands of alien worlds, teachers were already updating their lessons about the strange, slow-moving, but remarkably perceptive species called humans.